everybody? Welcome back to The Games That Make Us. I am your host, Contra Viction, and for today's special guest, we have the lovely Junae Benne.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us on this show today. I greatly appreciate you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. I am off today, so this works out. When you first got introduced to video games when you were little, what would you say your very first game was? And was it on a console or a computer?
It was definitely on a computer, and it was Howie's Funhouse. You know, one of the learning games. Howie's Funhouse was definitely my jam. I used to play it like every day, and I used to play it so much every day that the username that they gave me or that I chose was Pineapple Princess out of the list. That like my sister literally started calling me Pineapple Princess because every time they would hear it boot up and be like, "Hi, Pineapple Princess," from like the speakers. So that was my jam.
Oh, that's cute. Wait, how old were you at that time?
I couldn't even tell you. Let's call it 96, 97.
So if a learning game was your first video game, what was your very first console? Like, when were you introduced to your very first console?
I was introduced to the Nintendo NES, but that was more so for like my sisters, right? So out of four girls, I really didn't get to play that much because I was the youngest and I was the worst. So it's like anytime you died, you had to give up the sticks. So I didn't get to play that too much. But yeah, it was a Nintendo NES, but like my game, like just for me, like couldn't nobody kick me off, was Howie's Funhouse because it went from the Nintendo NES, and then I feel like we got a PC, and then PlayStation came out. We had a PlayStation. I can't remember which came first, was the PC or the PlayStation. And then we had one demo disc. And the demo disc that we had Spyro, Toomba, Tomb Raider, Gran Turismo, Tekken, and a couple of other games that I can't remember. But then I started playing like a lot of PlayStation.
Can you remember the color of your demo disc? I remember mine was pink.
It was black.
Really?
Mine was black, yeah.
Huh. Because each time I talk to different people on what the color of their demo disc was, like, mine was black and pink. And
I feel like mine was black and silver. And yeah, I feel like it's so crazy. I feel like I got this vivid memory. It was black and silver.
Yeah, because it was pink, and I'll never forget, I was introduced to Brave Fencer Musashi. It was on the demo, and I was like, Mom, I have to have this game. Because it's like, it was just like, by the time you finish the mission, you can't go but so far. And I'm like, oh my God. And man, these demo discs are something special, because each time you talk to someone about demo disc, it's like, dang, like, what game did you have on a demo disc? And dang, you had some good games on your demo disc.
I still haven't met anybody who also had my demo disc.
Are we enjoying ourselves today, folks?
Well, if drinking white wine out of a 4-ounce glass is your idea of enjoyment, see, it's white wine in a 3-ounce glass, red in a 4.
Hey, you in the goatee. 2 words for you, pal. Light and, Frenchie, I need an extension cord and some buffalo wings. Go. Au revoir.
So my dad bought our Nintendo, and my mom ended up buying our PlayStation. My dad passed when we were young. So that was like one of our things that we super, super treasured, because like he bought it for us. And it's very interesting because I'm jumping a little bit ahead. It's very interesting because when I started to hear that girls didn't play video games, I was like, that's really interesting, because my dad was a boy and he bought video games for his girls, and he had all girls, you know. And so like I always think about that, and I'm like, that's really weird. And I'm like, I'm sure you know, I would have probably had like a ton of more video games, like if he was still around. So when people say things like that, it's very weird to me, because I'm like, man, I guess I'm an anomaly, like weird. So, but then my mom bought us a PlayStation, so to her, that wasn't something that she was thinking either. She was like, "Oh, they play the other game system. They're going to play this game system."
I understand completely because when you mentioned your dad, I was thinking about my grandmother because it was like a few months ago. I asked my mom, like, what was it like purchasing the N64? Because I was introduced to the Genesis. That was my very first console, but the first console that we actually owned was the N64, with my game being the Banjo-Kazooie. Like, I talk about this all the time. But I asked her, like, so what was the process like? And she was just like, yeah, well, your grandmother, God rest her soul, but my grandmother went to Toys R Us with my mom, and she was just like, let's get her a video game. And my mom was like, I couldn't figure out like what to get you. I didn't want to get something that was too hard, but I want something that was a little bit more challenging too, which is why she got Banjo-Kazooie. And I'm so glad that she did that because I got so many memories with my grandmother just playing video games. Like, she was so freaking good at video games, man. Like,
that's crazy.
Man, that's why when I got older and I've heard like, oh, well, women don't play video games, I was like, what? My grandmother, she was in the federal government, but when she came home, she would play video games with me. That's my memory of her. I remember she baked some really good pies and she played video games with me. So yeah, so that's one of the biggest memories that I have with her. So I just know that I'm just going to continue to pass the torch whenever I'm ready to have kids. So that's really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
funny enough, when I bought we won the Nintendo NES. We were at like an event and we won the mini one like 2-3 years ago, and I ended up bringing it to like Thanksgiving or Christmas. And my mom was like, me and your dad used to play Super Mario. I was like, you're lying. She's never said that to me before. I was like, you're lying. Like, you're lying. And she was like, no, seriously. And I was like, you should play it now. And she was like, no, I don't want to play it now. But like, we gathered around the TV with the same controllers, because, the controllers are the same size. And like just watching my sisters like be Mario and Luigi again and like get mad. And one of my sisters actually, she was pretty good. Let my sister tell it. One of them, she beat Punch Out without like the special mat or something like that. Really? So, of course, I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about because like I've never actually played Punch Out, But she was like, no, there was apparently like a special mat or something you're supposed to have. And I
think you're talking about the power pad. It was like you laid on the floor and it was like blue and red. And there's different NESs, like the one up here where there's different packs. Like this one is the action set where it came with Duck Hunt and stuff like that. But I know there was other packs where it was the power pad. And I think that the value of that is a little bit more than this one.
That's the one that we had. We had Duck Hunt.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So we had a ton of games for the NES. That was the crazy part. Like we had, like if I go to my mom's house today, I'm still finding games from the NES that we had. It was just that PlayStation. We just had that one. And I think she thought like, oh, y'all got a whole bunch of games. And like, we were never going to tell her that like, no, they're not actually full games. We're like, yeah, we'll play. And we did. We played it all the time, especially like me with Tekken. I used to play Tekken all the time. They had like Gran Turismo and Tekken had like the highest replay value for me. Like I loved racing. I loved winning with Tekken. Gran Turismo was a little bit harder for me to win all the time, but I got good.
Wait, which Tekken? I was introduced to Tekken 2 because they had that really dope intro.
I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. Like I want to say 3. I just remember always picking Eddie.
Yes.
Paul was there. There was like no Jack, and I think Xiao Yu. I think she was there. So my only playable characters were like Eddie and Xiao Yu.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, was there a king? I only know I had 2 playable people, and I could only like really fight against a few people. And Paul would kick my butt every time with his big boots, long legs, and big boots. He would just hop me up in the air, keep doing combos, and then I would fall out and be like, okay, I'm gonna turn on Gran Turismo now, because I was raging as a little kid and didn't even understand that, you know, I had my first taste of like gamer rage. But when I was on a roll, butt mashing is what I really mean. And I would get perfects. I would count how many perfects I got in a row, and the most I got was like 37. Ooh. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so good at this game.
When we were kids, we have our parents or even teachers ask us what do we want to do when we grow up. And a lot of people say astronaut, lawyer, doctor, whatever. I've never said any of those things. So, with your love for video games and anime and everything retro, was being a journalist for esports like first choice or something along those lines, or were you pursuing something else before it fell into your lap?
Yeah, when I was in 4th grade, I wanted, because I love TV and I loved commercials. And if you don't remember, the thing that really made me love commercials was that creepy Quiznos ones with like the puppet or like the stuffed rat. Look it up, please. Look, like it's so funny.
We love these subs! Subs are $1 off when you bring in a coupon!
Anywho, I wanted to be an advertiser designer because I love TV that much. I was like, I want to design commercials. And I just had it in my head, advertiser designer, right? I knew I wanted to do something with commercials. And so like from 4th grade on until like high school, I was like, man, yeah, I'm gonna make commercials. And then it just switched. And then I was like, I should be a journalist because I have interest in like so many things. I also want to be on air. I think in the back I've always wanted to be a journalist too. Like I remember I remember watching TV and just remembering like Kermit the Frog, Kent Brockman from The Simpsons, you know, Spider-Man, Lois Lane more than Superman, and just being like, man, you know, like that's really cool. So I think that also shaped me into wanted to be like a broadcast journalist, more specifically like an anchor, right? Like in the like newsroom, like not a field reporter, which I didn't know the difference at the time. So I started pursuing that, and I had internships at like really prestigious places, NBC Sports and things like that. And I got to NBC Sports when the basketball lockout was going on. And so they made me like write about other things like golf and stuff like that. And I didn't like that. I was like, maybe I just want to do basketball. But I feel like when you're younger, they make you pay dues. You know what I mean? They're like, you need to report on whatever you need, whatever we're telling you to, until you get to a level where you could be like, I'm only doing this, which is kind of how I felt like my whole college career. Like I had to do it this way. I had to do it that way. And then when I got into like real world news, I realized that like I wasn't built for that. I wasn't built for politics, kind of because I make a joke out of everything. And I wasn't built for like serious things like, you know, like fires and like reporting on like murders and things, because I'm sensitive to that stuff. You know, like I don't want to just get the news. I want to like console and help like who's ever been through something. So that's when I decided that I was going to do video games, because I thought it was going to be easier. I was like, there's no scandals in video games. There's no politics. Girl, naive. There's no scandals. There's no politics. You can't lie. Like it is entertainment. So, and then I got in during Gamergate. That's when I started my video game journalism career.
Wow.
And it moved on to me being like, I don't understand what's going on. But that's when I started to understand like misogyny, politics, the lack of Black women. Another thing that pushed me to video game journalism is that I decided that I wanted to wear my hair natural. And regular journalism wasn't going for that. They are now, which is great. But at the time, nobody was doing that. Like I would have had to had a wig, a sew-in, something. And I decided that that's not what I wanted to do. So that wasn't even a question for me until I was deciding that, hey, I don't really want to be in like, everyday news anyway, because it's too much for me, was my hair. So when I got into video game journalism, I created this title called Natural Hair Gamer. So no one would ever question like whether or not I am going to switch up my hair, whether or not I am going to wear my hair natural. Like if I want to wear a sew-in, that's fine, but I don't want to be required to wear a sew-in. Like that was my problem. So then it evolved from just doing video games to being like, oh man, there's a competitive scene. Well, I do love sports. And I do really, really love video games. So how can I do them both? And then that's when I learned about esports, like fighting games. Because remember, I said I used to play Tekken all the time. But ever since that demo disc, I really didn't like hear much more about Tekken because people weren't talking about it. Like when I ended up moving to that different city, no one was really talking about video games. People didn't have video games. Or not that they didn't have, they just didn't play video games. That wasn't like a topic of conversation. I was also having like a really rough time adjusting to school and stuff like that. So I didn't hear much more about it. I did get a Game Boy Advance with Madden on there, and I didn't like Madden, so I didn't play it. But that was like the one thing that I got, and it came from like my sister's friend. My sister bought it from her friend who's a dude, so he was like, I have one game, people who just play one game. So his one game was Madden. And I was just like, okay. I was like, I'm really grateful for this, but if this is the only game that I have, I don't want to play. So for years I didn't use my Game Boy Advance. Just because I didn't ask for games. Like I didn't know that was possible, but that's a whole nother thing in itself, right? Because I wasn't seeing any commercials for Game Boy games, right? Like I don't remember them as much as I was watching TV. I don't remember them. So then, yeah, I started doing interviewing people. First, I started going to tournaments, hosting tournaments, then ending up interviewing people at the tournaments, and then like publishing that stuff on my own and things like that. So that's how that happened.
Well, well, since you've been in the industry, what are some things that you wish you can change tomorrow?
I would put Black women in charge, at least one, at every company in making executive decisions. That's it. That's it. Take away the nepotism that exists and white male dominated. But that's what I think putting a Black woman in power at every company would do, or at least at the executive tables. Having a super diverse like team pretty much is how I would fix everything. Tomorrow, like that'd be realistic for me, because a lot of us are being overlooked, not included, not even overlooked, because that would have to mean that they're checking for us, right? Or that they even see us in the same area and they do not.
What is a game that you believe is underrated that should be introduced into esports?
So it is already a fighting game. I think if like they started doing like competitive, fighting for it, like I would definitely try to do it. It's a game called Dive Kick, and it's super simple. We should actually play it.
What is that?
We should actually play it. We should actually play some Dive Kick. Ever since I found the game, it's very simple, right? It's like very simple. You dive and you kick, like
soccer.
And, no, not soccer. Like fight, like you versus me. You dive and you kick. I have it on Xbox, so you should get it. I think it's like $1.
I don't even know how to describe how this game. Wow.
I'm telling you, it's lit. It is lit. Like it is so good. Like it's so good.
It looks so funny.
No, we should play. We should play. We should literally stream it tomorrow or Friday. Like we should literally play. And like you are just gonna have so much freaking fun. And you're gonna be wowed at this like simplistic game, but it takes like strategy because you gotta be like, is she gonna dive or is she gonna kick?
The screenshots.
Yes.
These screenshots. I can't. Oh. I'm sorry. These screenshots are hilarious. Okay. And then they look like Jordans on the side, like a power up. Okay, we gonna play this game.
It seems I love it.
It seemed interesting. Oh boy.
It's so funny.
The screenshots, it's like
you wasn't expecting that. No, you were not expecting that.
I saw a suplex kick. I saw. I'm laughing way harder than I should be. Okay. Y'all look at the screenshots, cause I'll be open minded. I'll play the game. I just know I'm gonna be dying laughing while I'm playing though, man.
Yes. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I was kind of already good friends with, I made a friend, right? Then they had my friend threw a tournament for Dive Kick. My friend that is like better at fighting games than I am, and I took a couple rounds off of him. That's when I gained his respect, and we became even more friends. Like it's serious business. Wow. It's serious business. Like yes, because it's almost the fundamentals of a fighting game. You know what I mean? So it's really good. If they would bring it back, I should say, right? I can't think of another game. I can't really think of like another game that isn't a fighting game. Splatoon 2. But the thing about fighting games is that they're very much so accessible, and I would never want to change that, right? All you need is a console and the game. There was a guy who used to attend a lot of locals here in Chicago, and he didn't even own the game, and he used to end up like top 8. So sometimes you don't even need the game. Yeah, it's very accessible. I love that it's very much so inclusive versus like, being able to play like PC games. Like maybe there is like a Call of Duty League, but you're playing on PC. And so not everybody can get into it. So that's the only reason I think I wouldn't say Splatoon, because if I have a game and you live down the street from me, we have a game. You know what I mean? If I have Splatoon and you don't have a Nintendo Switch, I can't play that game with you. Right. So that's the only reason why.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons for why Fall Guys fell so quickly. Because I think they did a contract with PlayStation, so they were limited to PlayStation and PC only. And those people who I know personally that are Xbox, but they can't play. In addition to the cheating that PC was going through, that like
what?
Yeah, it was so many people cheating, like that made people like steer clear of the game at that point. And then all the bugs, it was so crazy. Like with me, it was like, say I played Fall Guys for like 2 hours. Within the 2 hours, I would have my game crash at least 6 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like, can y'all servers not fully handle it? And then other people who I knew who was playing it on PC, yeah, they've dealt with a lot of people that was cheating. And after a while, you start seeing it on Twitter and witnessing it. It's like, dang, that person's clearly flying in the air when they're not supposed to. All the way to the ground.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. I definitely saw a decline because I was really into the game when I first saw it, right? I definitely thought it was like harder. And then the more I played it, I was like, oh, I get it. You know, just make good decisions and watch out for other humans. Mm-hmm. I saw a decline, but I thought that's because Among Us had picked up. Because I used to, like, anytime I streamed, I would literally ask people, like, hey, do you still play Fall Guys? Or, like, are you mostly on Among Us? Because it's like Fall Guys happened. Everybody was really excited. And to me, I don't know the actual timeline, but it seemed like a week later, Among Us came out, like, years ago, right? 2018, I think. A week later, this game that came out years ago was like banging, and like nobody was talking about Fall Guys, but Fall Guys was literally all the craze. So I think Fall Guys did better than they were expected, and then Among Us came with their asymmetrical game. I want to call it a board game, but their asymmetrical type game, kind of like Friday the 13th, is asymmetrical horror game, and it just really cleaned up shop. But you know what? It's a surprise that I didn't know about the game, because I'm really like a sucker for some indie games. And I don't know if you know, but if you ever heard of the game Town of Salem, it was a web browser game, and it was almost the same thing. Like, I don't know how many people it was, maybe say like 8 to 10 people. 8 to 10 people would join a lobby. There would be like 3 mafias, right? It'd be the boss mafia, then the mafiosos, or like the little mafia guys. So maybe the boss is named mafioso. Mm-hmm. And then it would be the sheriff. It would be the killer. It would be like a medium, and like villagers and stuff like that. And so every day, like if I was a killer, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go kill this person. But nobody knew whose role was what. And so like you had to then figure it out, like, oh, okay, are you mafia? Because the mafia could also kill people too, though, right? And so I think like the mafia could end up winning, or like the killer could end up winning, or something like, or like the villagers could end up winning. That was like a really good game. Like Markiplier played the, yeah, I used to play it a lot. And that's how my friend got introduced to it. And then she introduced it to me. And that was a free game. You just needed a computer. And I used to play that game for hours. So then when Among Us came up, I was like, oh, I'm totally here for this. So I'm not surprised that it's doing well at all, because Town of Salem used to be super bomb. And I don't even know if they still have servers up or what. But that was like a really fun game too.
You've mentioned that there was different streamers that you played with recently. If you had the opportunity to sit with someone within the industry to hang out like for the entire day, who would that person be?
I don't know. I feel like I already hang out with people that I want to hang out with. Like they're already my friend, you know?
Right.
Like you're my friend.
Any higher ups? They don't have to be streamers.
I don't know. That's so weird. I feel like I never have an answer for that, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm talking to everybody that I want to talk to.
I completely get it,
I shouldn't say that. Like, and I don't want to make it sound like I have like this vast network where I'm just like, oh, they're on my list, darling. You know, like not like that. But
no, I don't think like that.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, I definitely always seek out like influential Black women to me. Like being able to be like, oh, I talked to the hiring manager at PlayStation who's a Black woman, you know, not for like getting a job, but more so for like, oh, give me a second. Just go. Yes, so I've definitely talked to, like, talking to like a Black lady who is at a very high up game development studio, like, game studio, is something that I've done, and then like I continue to do that. So I think I can't. Oh, I can never get her name right, but she's a CEO of Come on now.
Oh, she's a Black
Nicole.
lady, isn't she? Hold on, wait.
She's a Black
She is a
lady.
Black lady.
Nicole LaPointe Jameson.
She's a what studio is that?
It's not Misfits because I just cussed them out.
Oh,
Sorry, not really. Well, they had a panel of all like white people and was like, "This is the face of esports," and it was all white women. And I was like, "How could you guys even fix your mouth to say that?" And especially someone who has so much resources. You disgust me. Like, and I said that on Twitter, and then I also DM'd them, and then I also said it on my LinkedIn. I was like, no, you guys absolutely disgust me because you have all the money in the world to ask some Black people, but you don't. Jen G. Let me get this name. I can't believe it's escaping me.
Damn it. Hold on. Because I know who you're talking about, but I don't know why I forgot her name.
Yes, Evil Geniuses. Nicole LaPointe
Yes!
Jameson.
Because I was like, it's
so
evil,
I was right.
What evil? Okay, Evil Geniuses.
Yes, I was right. Yes, when I found out about her, I was like, wow, just to hear like how you got, and she has some videos and stuff out, right? Like on her journey, like she definitely had some videos of being like, hi, I'm doing this or I was doing that. But yeah, that would be exciting because it's just inspirational, it's inspirational. It's one of those things where, you're feeling bad, like that you feel like you're not doing enough for something. And you're like, man, there's Black women who have made it already. Like you can do it too. Or like, you can do, like, if she's the first one, you can be first in whatever you're talking about, or you can also revel in her success and have confidence that you too can succeed. So yeah.
Well, Nicole, if you ever come across this video, hi, my name is Contra Viction. And I have the lovely Junae, who would love to have the opportunity to sit with you for a day, whether it's talk about life, talk about video games, or just anything in general that may come off the top. And we just create and grow as Black women.
Absolutely. I'm going to email you. Look. So when you get this, just go back in your emails and be like, dang, she did email me. Because I'll try it. I think that's just big Junae energy. I try it. I just be like, hi, I'm Junae. Just want to say hi. Right. I think you're great, and I would love to hear about your journey. It's not even like, oh, I have some things that I want to share. I just be like, just tell me about yourself because like I said, I got into video games during like Gamergate, right? Watching G4, never seeing Black women, watching E3, being covered, never seeing Black women, reading articles, never seeing a lot of women and then Black women. So I just be interested in being inspired every now and then.
I agree completely. I think that's one of the biggest reasons for why we are so important in this space, because other than just being Black owned, we have so much to offer, especially to these different companies. So I don't know what took so freaking long, but they still have a lot of work to do as well. You can't have all of these resources and yet still say, oh, well, it's not enough of us in the industry. There's plenty of us. You just need to find us. Definitely.
And on top of that, we need to do some bias training.
Yes.
Because I personally have reached out to people who have said, And this is what they always say about Black people, right? Black people in general, Black women, BIPOC, they say there's just no good picks.
What?
Because you are expecting more from us, and your nephew could be 10 years old and you would let him write for one of these top gaming publications. You know what I mean? Like, what you do for other people who are not Black, Indigenous, women of color, people of color, you don't do for us. And so we really need bias training done, because there is. Or there's also nothing wrong with people learning. Everybody you hired, you did not hire them at that level. They're learning. Right. So yeah, let me uncross my arms, because I just...
No, I get it. I completely get what you're coming from, because there's been a number of studios while I'm in my current career as an analyst. There's certain studios that I've applied for, whether it's like business development or whatever the case may be, not even just like art developer or anything like that. And I don't get a call back.
Yeah.
And I will have all of the qualifications, if not more, to be in that role.
I know it.
And yet I don't get a call back. And I'm like, okay, so what is it? But you'll hire someone who doesn't look like me, straight out of college with no experience. Like, what sense does that make?
I know it.
But
I've
realized...
I know it, and that really has to stop.
Yeah, because I believe that other than me being a Black woman, I feel as though they want somebody who's a yes man, and I'm not that type of person. I'm not going to just bend and just say, hey, oh, you want this done? Where you want me to jump? I'm not doing that. Like, if I see something wrong, I'm going to identify it. I'm going to put it out there. It is what it is, in a respectable manner. But then again, they already label us as loud, aggressive, whatever the case may be, to diminish our value, which is what makes me upset all the time. But, you know, just like what SEGA was saying, like, we got to create our own opportunities, because they're not inviting us to places.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and we're gonna keep this light. It's very interesting that people would, when we do create our own opportunities, because you wouldn't let us in, then you want to be in our space, right? Or then you'd be like, oh, you're asking to be segregated. No, we're making the best out of the situation. Like, we literally make lemon bars out of lemons, okay? It's not just lemonade. We are making lemon bars. We're making lemon pound cake. Like, we're doing everything. And so we definitely do, and we can't be concerned with because I get comments like that all the time, like, especially when I was doing panels as a Black Girl Gamer member, and people be like, y'all want to be segregated? No, we're just tired of your foolishness. Like, just like when you go home, you live with who you live with at home, right? That's supposed to be your family and your safe space. Everyone has a safe space. You just don't like to know that you can't be in it, but you can't come into my house, bro.
Right.
You can't do it. Like, you built a house, you didn't invite me. I have my own house. You can't come into my house. Like, it's locked. Like, we're not. But yes. Agree.
Ooh, I feel like we just need to, when all of this is over, well, it's not going to be over anytime soon, but when things...
Victoria, can I tell you something? Yeah. You already know. And I was trying not to mention it earlier, because you're like, how are you doing? And I was like, fine. It's election day, and I have not watched one thing. I was like, I'm going to talk to Victoria today, and it's going to be lit, and I'm going to go back to playing my game, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And, like, I'm not watching anything. It's just irritating, because that comment that I got literally just popped up on a channel yesterday, and my whole family has been telling me, hey, it's election day, like, don't go outside. Isn't that crazy? Like, not only do we have to have these pressures in everyday life, but like video games too? Like, we don't have safe for nothing. Like, it's irritating, because people are getting so bold. And it's like, no. Anyways.
No, I get it completely.
Let's scoot ahead.
You know. So my question is, well, my final question for you is, as of today, 5 years from today, where do you see yourself? Do you still see yourself within the industry? Do you still see yourself doing something more? Because I remember when we talked before that you were interested in doing coding for the community, and you also mentioned that you've written a book too. So tell me more about it. Like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I definitely see myself doing more. I feel like right now I don't have the right network to kick down doors as I would like to for Black women opportunities. I feel like right now I'm grasping for straws. I'm like, hey, like I'll do the legwork, and be like, hey, we need to do this. In 5 years, I see myself having the network to be like, put Black women in it right now. I know who it is. Do this person, or go to this person. They know what you need to know, like, or that doesn't look right. Like, I see myself being a part of a lot of conversations or starting conversations and being able to provide the solutions at high end values. So definitely doing more. My book is How to Become a Successful Video Game Journalist. And that teaches you how to write. If you want to just even write, I literally start from the basics of writing news and like writing articles in general and things like that. I start from the basics, and then I move into how to write game reviews, how to the questions to ask to interview people, how to build relationships with companies so you can get codes and things of that nature, and how to fill out press releases as well. So I know everyone wants to be at every convention and things like that, but it takes some work to get there. And no one taught me how to fill out press releases. I was just doing it. And then I had someone be like, this is what you say, this is what you do, this is what you do. So I also want to share that knowledge with everyone else. I also have writing opportunities available in my own Discord. And what happens is pretty much we go through how to write, right? It's a writing workshop pretty much. And then I publish your work on my website, and you can tell people that you have published work. I do that because I had to start publishing my own work because I could not find anyone else to do it. And when I did have other people publishing my work, they technically owned it. I didn't get a lot of money, any money, I think, in the beginning. Also, when they decided that they were done with the website, so was my work. So I didn't have like a portfolio or anything like that. So I want to always give people like here, you can hold on to this. This is your work. And teach them how to publish on their own stuff too, right? Like, you don't have to write for my things. It's a confidence booster to be like, look, here's published work. You can literally send this to people and be like, here's my written work. And then, when you feel that confidence, you could start publishing stuff on your own.
I think I know you are one of the biggest people that inspire me to write articles in the first place. To give voices for others. Oh, don't give me that face. Yes, I'm serious.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
I didn't know
so
that. I didn't know.
Yeah, on my website, I write different articles for different game stores and different like areas where, they don't get as much marketing. So not only do I do different videos and different interviews for them, but I also post articles. So if someone were to type in like their game store, they can see my article pop up. Because a lot of these news outlets, like, they'll do 1-2 videos, mainly one video, less than 5 minutes of who they are and all sorts of stuff, but they don't deep dive into how long they opened up, like how long have they owned the store, what inspired them, like stuff like that. I want to be able to give them a voice on my platform. So I don't care if 4 people watch it. Eventually, someone's going to benefit off of that, even when it comes to my articles. So yeah, you're one of the main reasons for why I decided that I'm not just going to do video interviews for them. I'm also going to write an article, because some people are old school. Some people don't want to watch a video. Some people rather read. And I learned that from you. So when we met, so that's why I took that more seriously. Yeah.
This and like literally, this is what I do it for, right? You are one person helping one more person that's going to help one more person at minimum. Right. And to me, that's enough because that's already what, 3 people. So like, I love to hear it. Really, I do. And that means a lot because I do just be out here talking. So when someone picks up what I put down, it's a great feeling because like, I'll do it. Like you said, even if one person benefits from it, like I'll do it. And so, yes, thank you.
No problem. And now it is time for Spin the Wheel Gaming Edition. Here we are, folks. The wheel is here. The wheel is here.
I'm excited. I have no idea how to play.
It's okay. It is A-okay. I'm going to show you how to play. So, I have 2 different games. There's Spin the Wheel, and then there's Name That Song, Gaming Edition. So, with Spin the Wheel, there's different categories, right? There's Name That Game, Character, Origins, Song, Common Knowledge, and Console. You have 6 of these categories. I'm sure you'll do fine because every single person, they're like, oh, I'm going to do horrible. I'm going to do trash. No, you're going to do just fine. We're in this together. You know, I'll give a few hints depending on how hard the question is. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
Woo!
Console. Which console is the first console to introduce online gameplay?
Xbox.
No.
Ooh.
The very first, well, I can understand why you said that because there's Xbox Live. It was actually Dreamcast because they introduced Phantasy Star Online.
Oh,
Yes.
I never had a Dreamcast. And I am excited to play Phantasy Star 2, the one that's like coming out.
Yes.
I saw the other Phantasy Stars and I was like, ooh, that look a little bit complicated. And this one looks like something Junae could do. But that's so exciting.
I'll play with you.
Technically, it would be Dreamcast. Yeah.
I could play with
If
that.
anything, I would have said like Pokemon because you could connect the or Game Boy, not Pokemon, Game Boy. That'd be kind of funny.
Well,
but it's Dreamcast. We'll just
Dreamcast.
Move on from there.
Yes, it is Dreamcast. Character. All right. What game did this character come from? Do you see it?
That's a dinosaur?
Yes.
I don't know. What? It's a sci-fi game?
No, it's a fighting
game.
game.
That looks like Ark Survival. It's a fighting game?
Yes.
Killer Instinct.
Yes! That is correct.
Yeah.
That's Reptile.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
That's Reptile.
Yes.
Yes. Get it hot.
Let's go.
Common knowledge. Question number 3. When is PlayStation 1's original birthday? Not US, but Japan, the original birthday. If it helps, you can give me the year. I ran out of notes for my timer. Well, Junae, are you frozen? Uh-oh. Hello? Junae?
How does it? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't see you though. I thought you was stuck in thinking mode. I was like, what? You don't, what?
That's so funny. Yeah,
was like
no.
this the whole time. I was like, dang, she's staying perfectly still.
No, I was like, you froze. I was like, oh crap.
I was doing the mouth timer and everything. Just do. I was just like, dang.
That's so funny.
I'm running out of notes, and you was just. It's like, dang.
I don't know. I feel like I'm just throwing out numbers, so I'm gonna say 92. I'll go with 94.
You are correct.
No way. That's dope. I was just throwing out numbers. I was like, I don't know.
Correct, madam. It
Sweet.
originally came out December 3rd, 1994. Yes. Oh,
Nice.
she got 2 out of 3. All right.
I know that's right.
So, the second to last question. Here we go. Character again. All right. What is this character's name?
Yeah, no, he used to haunt me. That's Paul.
That is Paul. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, Paul used to haunt me. That's Paul. Never forget. Never forget that high. I don't know if it's a mohawk or what. Yeah. That high updo. Yes. He's terrifying.
Oh, you couldn't beat him when you was playing Tekken?
No, I think maybe like once or twice, but like he had those. You want to talk about somebody who had legs? Paul has some legs. Okay, Paul has some legs with some big boots on the end. So like his range was just. I knew nothing about range at that point, but his range was just like he used to give me the old 1-2. That was it.
Okay. The final question.
I'm ready. Okay.
So, this may not be common knowledge, but we'll put it out there. So, when the people discuss the very first video game that was ever created, they talk about Pong, but they also talk about Magnavox Odyssey, when that is neither. So, can you tell me what is the very first game that was ever created that started on an oscilloscope? I know this is a hard one. Here's a hint. So
yeah,
it's exactly like Pong, but it's not named Pong.
If it's like Pong, but it's not Pong, you got me. I don't know. I don't know it.
The game is called Table for Two. Or Tennis for Two. Yep, Tennis for Two. Or Table for Two. One of those. Yep. So that game was... Yep. That game was created in a laboratory by a scientist. And yeah, he just wanted to do something for like a conference. They have a conference annually, and he wanted to do something different that would have the general public like, wow, this is amazing. So he used his past experience with messing with different tubes. When he was interning, he did different tubes to make the timers for atomic bombs and stuff like that. He used those same type of materials in an oscilloscope to make it where instead of it's like how it how do I describe it? So an oscilloscope, you usually see it in like those hospitals where it's testing like your heartbeat. Instead, he rewired it where you can make a game out of it with the knobs. So that was the very first video game
That's dope. Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
It is so dope.
I thought it was really interesting. So yeah.
No, that is. That is.
And what's so crazy is that even though everybody loved it, right? It was the talk of the town. But he didn't really take it that seriously, especially since he was a government worker. If he were to pursue it any further, they would have took the rights to it anyway, since it was the government's equipment and laboratory. So he didn't pursue it any further. And that's when Ralph Baer came along years later, and he took the rights to it and he partnered with the Magnavox company to make the Magnavox Odyssey, which is why that's technically the very first console ever created.
I see. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know any of that. And it's interesting because I was just thinking, I was like, dang. So if he didn't take it seriously, Pong was like, well, we just going to slap a new name on this baby and put it out there. Yep. So, and that's kind of what happened.
Yep. And then it was so crazy how Atari was created their own system, and then Ralph and Magnavox tried to sue, and they were like, "Oh, this is our original," and I'm over here like, "What? Really?" I can't remember how. I think they settled it out of court, but in my mind, I'm like, that just doesn't.
So you took something from somebody else, and then you're mad that someone did their own thing.
Right.
Have your cake and eat it too, I guess, if that's what you want to do.
Like, make it make sense. Well, regardless of how well you did, or how well you didn't even do bad. You got like 3 out of 5, so that's freaking great. There were some people who got 2, but we're not gonna drop no names. You did great. So you are a winner in my book. That's what matters. You are a winner in my book.
I love it.
Thank you again for being a part of this amazingness and for participating in my game, because that's the goal of this, to learn a little bit every single day.
Love it.
So, Go ahead, before we close out, go ahead and let them know, the audience, what you're currently working on and where they can find you.
I am currently working on some game reviews, and feel free to go to JunaeBenne.com. You can see all of the cool stuff that I'm doing, all of my past articles, and this episode will definitely be linked on my JunaeBenne.com, because I am forever grateful for meeting Contra Viction that one weekend in Atlanta for DreamHack. Definitely forging lifelong relationships. I dig it. So definitely check out my YouTube. I drop content ever so often, pretty often. Thinking of me, thank you for inviting me. I also make merch. This is one of my shirts. It says Black Girl Magic, and it has some of your Nintendo faves on here. So if you're looking for clothes that represent Black women in a video game lifestyle, or clothes that have Black women with natural hair in video game lifestyles, curlsandcons.com is going to work out just fine for you. The full name is Curls and Controllers. I created it very much so close to my heart because, like I said, I'd never wanted to let go my natural hair passion and my video game passion. So Curls and Cons is a me thing. So curlsandcons.com, JunaeBenne.com, all of that fun stuff.
And I'll make sure to put all of her links in the description because I know, including myself, we can all be lazy, don't want to type it in. So I'll make sure where it's clickable. You have no reason at all to not check out her content. So go ahead and support her, because if you're supporting her, you're supporting me too. And with that said,
1,000%.
And with that said, thank you guys for another episode of The Games That Make Us. Again, I am your host, Contra Viction, and tune in next week for another guest that I will not announce. You will just see it when I post it. Bye, you guys. I love you guys. Confetti Queen. I gotta clean all this up. No regrets at all. See you guys next week. Woo! There's confetti everywhere. One more for the road. Oh, it's on my foot. There we go. Oh, there we go. Hey!